All right. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Lisa.
Hi,
Welcome.
how you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I miss you so much.
I miss you too. I'm so glad you all are here. Well,
Yes.
welcome everyone. I'm Professor Patchke, and thanks for joining me in tonight's session on designing your environment for better study habits. So we're going to discuss how can we change where we study so that it helps us better in our academics and mentally as well. So I think many of us think that study success is a lot about motivation or time management. That is part of it, but the environment plays just as an important role. So grab something to write with, grab a snack, grab a piece of paper if you're able to. All right, take some notes. I'm excited for this session tonight. So, we are going to dive in and talk about how to make the space that you're currently in work for you, not against you. Okay. You do not have to have a massive mansion to have the perfect study space. You don't. So, to start, I want to hear from you, right? I want to know, where do you usually study or work on your learning tasks or get things done for academics? Is it at home? Is it at an office, your work, at a coffee shop? Um, where do you typically get your academics done? Feel free to write that in the chat. Or if you are available and you're not working and you can share, you can unmute and share. That'd be great too.
I'm a little bit with both at home and at work.
Okay.
Just because my schedule is my schedule is crazy.
Yeah.
So sometimes what I have, like the girls are away tonight and
Mhm.
there's just like two people with me.
Yeah.
I have the space to sit and usually just like focus on homework Sunday and Monday while I'm
Yeah.
here. And
Yeah.
then like Wednesday, Thursday, I work more of a morning to mid shift. So then
Okay.
I have those evenings
Yeah.
after church to be home. And
Yeah.
so any chance I get, I'm squeezing it in somewhere if
Squeeze
I,
it in.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, if you said at home in the chat, where at home? Michelle, can you explain where at home do you typically study? You're on mute.
Yeah, in my living room. That's where my small office is.
Yes, exactly right. Okay. All right. Yeah, there might be a spot at your house or at a different location at your job, or maybe you're just trying to study wherever right now because of hectic lifestyles. So let's talk more about what this environment should look like. Okay, we're going to break it down into various aspects. All right. So let's first off begin discussing, okay, and explore why your study space has such a big impact on your ability to focus. Okay. Your surroundings, physical and mental, send these powerful cues to your brain about what it's time to do. Think of your environment where you study as like a silent partner. So I like to call it a silent partner. It's either going to support your goals or quietly distract you. And I'm sure many of you know where that distraction lies. Your brain forms these associations with different spaces, right? That's why the bed makes you very, very sleepy. That's why your desk or wherever you study, specifically at a desk, makes you feel alert, or at a table. That's why when you're in the kitchen a lot of times you begin to eat. Okay. We begin to snack, right? But when these boundaries blur, your brain gets these mixed signals and then it struggles to switch focus. Okay. Joy, I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Let me unmute myself first.
Go
But it's
ahead.
like when I'm trying to like get my classes done and my dogs won't leave me alone because they want more attention than I when I gotta do my homework.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got these distractions too, right? So I had a student last semester tell me about her kitchen space, right? She said, I used to study at my kitchen table because that's all I had as a flat surface, but she found herself constantly eating snacks. Okay. And because she ate all these snacks, it caused her to feel sleepy. She was bloated, right? We then worked on just finding a very small corner in her apartment. It just had her laptop and a little lamp, okay, and a chair. Her focus doubled, okay? Here's the best part. She stopped snacking. That's probably the best part, okay? She didn't have to eat because it wasn't needed, all right? But that small shift made all the difference, okay? So let's look at why your environment matters so much. It's not just about having a really neat desk or great lighting with all these windows. Your surroundings shape how your brain performs and what habits you form over time. Okay? You see, your brain is constantly scanning for these cues to tell it what to do next. Okay? When you sit in a place where you regularly relax, like a couch, your brain interprets that environment as this is downtime. Okay. In the beginning, you might feel productive. You're comfy, you've got that armrest with your laptop, but over time, it's downtime. It releases signals that encourage rest and not focus. Okay. But when you constantly work in a certain spot that you're sitting down in and the desk is right at your arm length, your brain starts linking that location with productivity. And that's what we want to see with you. So over time, that environment cue becomes automatic, right? You sit down and your focus turns on almost by habit. That's what we want to instill in you, right? So let's look at 3 different things for why your environment matters. All of these psychological and physical signals are incredibly powerful. From the texture of the chair that you sit in, the lighting in the room, even the sound in the background. Each of these sends subtle messages about whether it's time to engage or unwind, right? Think about the moment your head hits the pillow. If you can feel the texture on your pillow, that is sending signals to your brain of, oh, this is comfy. I know the smell of my pillow. I know the texture, and it's telling you it's time to unwind. That's why ambient noise in a cafe might help some people focus because their brain links it to creative energy. That's me, okay? While others, it's just so distracting and they don't need any music, okay? On the flip side, poor design comes at a cost, okay? And we can create great design with no money used, okay? A cluttered or mismatched, that's a big one. A cluttered or mismatched workspace constantly fragments your attention. We don't want that. So each time you look around in your environment and you see unrelated items, you see a mess, you see laundry, you see dishes over there in the kitchen, you see your phone is ringing all the time, you're asking your brain to task switch. That is going to drain your energy, and then that fuels procrastination because you're so stressed and overwhelmed and you want to take care of your chores first. Okay? You sit down, your body recognizes the cue, and your brain slips into focus with less resistance. So, in short, your environment, when you shape your environment with intention, you're not just decorating your space, right? Oh, this looks so pretty. You're actually training your brain to show up for the work that's coming. That's what you're telling it to do, right? So let's look at the section of key elements that make a study space truly productive. I gave a list of 5 areas here that we need to discuss. I want you to think of this as a checklist that maybe when I'm talking about this, check it off and say, like write down on your paper, yeah, this is in my home or my office, or no, maybe I should incorporate this. Let's start with the first one. The first is lighting. This is crucial. Okay, studies have shown the difference between very bright natural sunlight in windows in comparison to the yellow bulb or even the LED bulb. It's going to make a difference. The goal is for the light to be bright enough for you to stay alert, but not to the point of bright LEDs because they're so harsh on your eyes at times and it's going to make you feel tired. Natural light is going to be ideal. Wherever, whenever you can get it. Sitting near a window is going to boost your mood and your focus. You want to avoid that glare, like that direct glare on your screen. So let's say you have your computer up, it's dark outside, and you have your screen on like it's the brightest. That's going to not only hurt your eyes, it's going to strain your eyes, but you're really relying on that artificial blue light, and we don't want that. Okay. Aim for that warm, steady lamp if you can. Look at your bulbs, I would say in the next week and say, is this too dark for my eyes? Is this too bright? Even you'll notice you'll get sleepier at night, okay? Unless you're working second shift as adults. Think about when your body starts to go downhill, when it begins to create melatonin and it's like, I'm sleepy, okay? A simple rule for lighting is if you find yourself constantly squinting or rubbing your eyes, your lighting needs adjustment. Simple rule, okay? Next is sound. There's no right answer here for this one, okay? It's more about what helps you focus. Yes, there are many studies that show instrumental music, especially classical, does help with studying, okay? This is also based person to person. I've noticed sound can benefit other people and it can annoy other people, right? A lot of people work best in silence and others, they like very loud rock music. Some people like worship music. Some people just like the instrumental ambiance, okay? If you are easily distracted, this is why I say maybe try a white noise, even a fan, nature sounds, something that can create a constant audio backdrop, okay? If you're constantly in a noisy home, if you have kids, a dog, okay, or if you're sharing a space with someone, try and use headphones to block out that noise because too much, it will distract you, as Joy already mentioned with her dog, okay? You want to, again, signal to your brain that it's focus time. Next is the posture and comfort. Not too comfy though, because we want to support your body and prep it for studying. So you do not need an expensive chair, but your body should feel supported enough that you're not thinking about pain or discomfort every few minutes. Unless you have back pain or knee pain where you can't stand for long periods of time or you just can't get comfortable, that is going to be more challenging because you have to use more pillows to get comfy, which then might tell your brain, it's time to relax, right? Again, if you do struggle with constant aches and pain, I recommend using ice and heat, okay? Go back and forth with that. Aim for a setup where your feet can sit on the floor, okay? Fully sit on the floor. Or at least be supported by something. Your back should be supported, okay? I know. I used to study with my computer on the couch and kind of lean and prop up my legs and do all this stuff. It works for the first maybe 30 minutes, an hour. Then you notice that you're constantly readjusting. You can't get comfy, right? Because it's telling me, I need to unwind here. I need to relax. So if you're working in a smaller space, try and use multi-use furniture. Okay, if you have a coffee table, sit on the ground, prop your back up on the couch with a pillow and use the coffee table. a fold-out desk, even the corner in your bedroom, if there's something that you can add with a cushion and a portable laptop, something, it will come in handy. So these little changes, again, this is going to tell your brain, oh, my body is in right posture. It's also somewhat comfortable. I'm ready for a working position. That's what it's saying. Next up, what you need, a key element of a productive study space is going to be technology setup. Yes, you are going to need your laptop, okay? You're going to need your charger and all that. But it should be ready to go, meaning you should not have it out of reach. You should have take the first 10 minutes, compile everything you need, sit down and be structured. If you're constantly getting up, you're breaking your focus. At the same time, you want to use technology to reduce temptations, okay? So maybe if you're able to, put your phone on airplane mode for 30 minutes. Put on just a little sticky note on a door and say, hey, do not come in. I need to study. I have this paper due. Also, keeping your phone out of arm's reach. If you put it on the opposite side of the room, that means you're only going to get up when you truly need it, which is going to help so significantly. You don't have to scroll on Instagram or check your emails, check on your work, okay? Think of your tech setup as a gatekeeper. What you allow on your screen is going to shape how well you can concentrate. All right? And the last piece here, finally, is visual order. We're going to talk about clearing that mental clutter, right? What you see around you affects how cluttered or how calm your mind feels. You do not need a picture-perfect desk. You do not need a fancy home. You do not need everything to be clean, but you want to be able to have somewhat of a clear surface for you to work and a way to keep your materials organized. If you walked into your desk, if I walked into your desk or your study space, and there was just 3 different coffee mugs and a water bottle and like old food and napkins and tissues and papers everywhere, more than likely, you're not studying well, okay? Folders, small bins, something. Put it away in an enclosed space so that you have space to study at. You want to visually help yourself by decluttering. Visual reminders are going to work in your favor. Sticky notes are great. A short to-do list is great. Motivational phrases, scripture, that's great. The idea is when you sit down at this space, you need to tell yourself, here's what I'm going to do, okay? You don't want to tell yourself, oh, look at all this stuff I'm putting off. I need to do all this and clean this. You don't want that. So by using these 5 key elements, the lighting, the sound, the posture, the tech, and the visual order, you're not just tidying up your room. You are literally building a physical environment that makes it easier for you to show up and focus and hopefully finish what you start. Okay? Let's talk about reducing distractions. Distractions, everyone deals with them. We are all affected by distractions. It's not all the time that you lack willpower or discipline. More than likely, it's your environment, it's our devices, and it's our emotions that are constantly competing for our attention. When you can see those distractions very clearly, you can actually design around them instead of constantly blaming yourself. So let's look at the biggest 3 elements. First one is digital distractions. These are the obvious ones. It's the notifications, the social media, it's the endless tabs in our minds, okay? Yeah, I'm just going to check this one thing on my phone. Has anyone ever done that? You say, yeah, I'm going to look up maybe this recipe, or I'm going to text someone on my phone. And 30 minutes later, you didn't even do what you were going to do because you got distracted by the next thing. It happens all the time. Environmental distractions. This is the dog coming in, the kids, other people talking. There's TV in the background. It's clutter. It's more household chores. Everything is calling your name. It's saying, Michelle, I'm over here. Joy, I'm over here, right? It's calling your name and saying, take care of me, me, right? Then there's the emotional distractions. And as adults, we deal with much of this, right? We have the stress. There's worry. It's the fear of the unknown. It's feeling overwhelmed. These make it very tempting to avoid the hard tasks, meaning academics, because we want to escape into something easier. So we need to be aware of these three main distractions. I'm not going to take the time and discuss how we can overcome these. That might be for another session, right? Let's keep moving here. Let's talk about what I like to call friction. Let's create friction for your distractions. So instead of trying to power through all of those distractions, what if that we can create friction for your distractions? Okay. This simply means that making the distracting behavior is a little less convenient. So how can we do that? You might turn on non-essential alerts on your phone. You might log out of a social media during study sessions. You might physically move the phone or physically move yourself away from the dirty dishes. I love this. The picture here is this adult learner is trying to study while doing the dishes. How impossible is that, right? It's not going to work for her. Even small steps like keeping your charger across the room or using a blocker or setting a timer for 10 minutes, you are creating just enough friction or resistance that you pause and think to yourself, do I really need to break my focus right now to go all the way across the room to do the dishes? Do I really need to do that right now? Okay. Yes, there are going to be times when other things come first. I understand that, right? This is why we also incorporate balance into our life and boundaries, right? Rituals can be powerful tools for your attention. If you have a startup ritual, it might be simple as I take 5 minutes to get my coffee or my water. I clear my desk. I open up my planner. I write everything down. It's my ritual. I do it every time I study. Creating one of these, you're basically telling yourself, I'm ready to go. A shutdown ritual could include closing all your tabs, jotting down where you left off, packing away all your materials. That is a shutdown ritual. If you have one of those, that's great because it's telling your brain, I'm done for right now. I'll be back to it. Okay. Over time, these small routines, they act like on and off switches for the brain. So they are going to signal, now we're entering focus mode again because I'm used to my startup ritual, or, I'm done for today because I have a shutdown ritual. Okay. When you're able to identify your main distractions, add friction to them, give your focus time a clear structure, and then anchor it with simple rituals, whatever that looks like for you. You will stop relying then on just plain willpower. You don't want that because willpower is not going to help you every single time. Okay. Create a system that gently guides you, even when motivation is low. That's why I love rituals and habits, because even when motivation is low, you still have a habit to fall back on. Let's look at consistency. Designing for consistency is about making focus the default, not the exception. Let me say that again. Designing for consistency is about making focus the default, not the exception. So this section here we're going to look at, it shows you all how to build routines even when we have really busy, imperfect days. Okay. 4 tips here for you. The first one we're going to look at is called habit stacking. And I recommend starting with habit stacking. Instead of trying to build a brand new routine from scratch, Try and look for something to attach your study time to, something that you do already every day. Okay, for example, after I finish dinner, I do the dishes, everything's in order, I make my tea, and I sit down at my desk for 30 minutes. That could be a habit stacking ritual that you have. Okay, or I put the kids to bed, the dog has been taken out, I open my laptop, and I'm going to review my notes from class that I had this week. By linking study to an existing habit, you give your brain a clear sequence it can recognize and repeat. That's a routine. Next is environmental anchors. Again, same place, same time, same cue. When you regularly study in the same spot at roughly the same time of day with the same small cue, like maybe you always click on that little lamp, right? Or you turn on your headphones. Your brain starts to associate that pattern with, I'm ready to focus. I'm going to do my best to focus, okay? Even with everything else competing for our attention. Over time, just seeing that environmental anchor or hearing that certain click, maybe on that lamp or your headphones, it's going to say, let's move into the workspace. A powerful way to support these two is to prepare the night before. I tell all my students, every day when you wake up, you should already know what you're going to wear. You should already know what you're going to do for that day. Prepare the night before. Think of it as lowering the activation energy required to get started. When you have to do everything within an hour the morning of waking up, it's stressful. It requires a lot of energy. So in the evening, that might mean clearing off your workspace, plugging in your laptop, putting your notebook in your bag ready to go for work, filling up a water bottle. I don't know what that looks like. But when you arrive the next day, you now have everything laid out for you. It's planned out that your past self already did. It's wonderful. But as we know, life isn't always predictable. And we have a lot of environments competing for our attention, right? We're always on the go. We're working, we're parenting, we're in ministry, right? So how do you adjust when studying in these variable environments? How do we do so? Okay, that's when I go back and say, focus on those anchors, the environmental anchors, those portable anchors. It could be a small study kit that you take with you. Bring your charger with you, okay? Bring a specific playlist with you, a digital checklist play with you. So that way, if you're on the go between work and home, even if the location changes, you still have this ritual of, I still have everything I need to prep me to get my mind in the right headspace. Okay. Yes, the physical space might vary at times. I understand that. But if your routine stays the same, everything will stay familiar. Okay. That's habit stacking as well. So when you stack habits, build environmental anchors, and when you prepare your space ahead of time, and then also carry a few portable cues for on-the-go study, consistency stops depending on motivation alone. That's what we want, is consistency. You create reliable rhythm that helps you show up for your goals, even on the days when everything feels like it's unpredictable. And you know, we have these days. Okay, so that's consistency and why it's so crucial. We've looked at focus, we've looked at consistency. Now let's look at how your environment can support your motivation and follow through. It's not enough to start strong. That is great that we do that. The real challenge, as you know, is to continuously show up. Even when you're tired, even when you're busy, and even when you're discouraged. The good news is that your space and routines can be designed to keep you moving, even when your willpower drops just a bit. Okay, so let's look at these 4 tips here to support your motivation. One powerful motivation tool is going to be visual process cues. Again, our brain loves seeing evidence that we're moving forward. That's why sticky notes, I have packs of sticky notes everywhere because I need the visual cue. I love the visual cue of a verse, a motivational quote, something, my to-do list where I'm tracking it. If you can physically cross this off your checklist, if you have a wall calendar, a desk calendar, a tracking board, something, you will feel more focused in each session. Okay. Then you'll walk through your study space. If you have calendars, like the booklets, and you go back a few months ago and you have everything checked off, you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Look at everything that I did, even when I was going through this hectic time in my life, right? It's going to send you this clear message of you are doing this. Don't break the chain. You're doing this. You can do this. That's what it's sending you. These visual cues are so important. Visual progress turns your effort into something you can actually see and feel, not just something that you hope that you're doing enough of. Okay. Next, build in micro rewards, small wins. Many adult students, they wait to celebrate until the biggest milestone. I have students say, you know what, professor, I'm going to celebrate when I graduate. Okay. That's a long time away. Hate to break it to you, especially if you're going part-time. Okay. We need to celebrate micro wins, small wins. Even finishing a course, break it down even smaller. You made it each week. When you submit your meeting participation report in Canvas, that is a win. Okay. You can make it even smaller. Motivation thrives on quicker feedback too. Another micro reward might be simple as if, okay, you just turned in a big assignment, right? In week 7, you turn in this massive assignment. You might be like, I'm going to get my favorite snack. I know it's not healthy for me. You're not doing it every day, all right? It's a small win. You might say, I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to go out with my spouse. I'm going to do something small. Guilt-free too. You have to keep that in the back of your mind. It must be guilt-free. Taking a walk, spending a few minutes alone, or something that you enjoy. The key is to clearly link the reward to a specific action. After I complete this, I will, and name it. This trains your brain to connect the focused work that you've done with a positive outcome, not just effort or stress. You're not rewarding effort. That's part of it. You are rewarding the focused work that you accomplished. Okay. The third tip for supporting motivation is accountability. Accountability is going to make or break your college journey. Studying doesn't have to be a solo activity, by the way. Okay. Yes, a lot of the work is independent, but it doesn't have to be that way, right? Maybe just setting up regular check-ins with someone in your class, someone from the Ally Center. Maybe if you have a good relationship with your professor, you know someone at church who's been through this. Regular check-ins, okay? Someone who knows where you're at, someone who's been where you're at, or even someone who is a professional in this field can tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right. Just knowing someone else expects you to show up and to be accountable with that person, you're more likely to not skip. You're more likely not to back off on what needs to be done during that day or during that week. Okay. Keep it very simple. I have students that honestly, they just want a simple text message or they just want an email every Friday saying, hey, praying for you. Did you do this? Check. All right. This goes back and forth. When you can report to someone that your work is done, you're more likely to do it. All right, finally, let's consider how your energy rhythms affect your study environment. Energy rhythms, this might be a new terminology. Let's talk about it. We've got morning and evening learners. Some people think very clearly in the morning at 6 a.m. Others hit their stride 11 p.m. Instead of fighting your natural rhythm, why not design around it? Okay. If you are a morning learner, set up your space the night before so that you can sit down in the morning at 6 or 7 or 8 a.m. with a clear mind and minimal distractions. You don't want any decisions that morning of if you are a morning learner. If you happen to come alive in the evening, like maybe after this session, when we finish here, you might be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do my homework till midnight. Okay. Okay. Then we need to focus on what we talked about in the beginning of the session. Some lights, dimmer lights. Okay. A specific warm drink. Maybe that's part of your routine, your habit, a tea. You want to align your environment with your natural energy, the way you learn best. You don't want to force focus at your worst. My college students on campus, they range between 18 and 22 years old. They will tell me till they're blue in the face that they do their best work at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And they will, almost every single person thinks that, right? There are a few people who say, I have to be in bed by 10 p.m. because I know I do my best work during the day. I think majority of these college students that are doing their work at 1, 2 in the morning, it's not their best work. They are actually forcing themselves to focus at the worst time of day. Worst time of day. Okay? When you can see your progress and reward your effort, lean on the accountability that is discussed here and work with your natural energy, your learning style instead of against it, motivation stops being a mystery. Your environment becomes a very quiet but powerful partner. It's going to help you not just start your goals, but finish them, whatever that goal might be. Okay? Now, let's look at 3 real life adaptations to use for you busy adults. Okay? We're going to discuss about how to make studying possible in the middle of an already full life. No, we're not waiting for perfect conditions because that's not going to happen. So, for those in shared or small spaces, think in terms of multi-purpose setups. Portable study kits, a folding table, a specific chair, even just a tray, whatever that looks like, can transform a corner of your bedroom or your living room into a temporary study zone. Then you can tuck it away when you're done so that you're telling your brain, bye-bye. I'll see you the next day when I get you ready. Okay? A small study kit looks just like sticky notes, pens, highlighters, charger. That's what that is. I would say a study kit works really well for students on campus because they leave their room and they go from class to class all day, and it's great to have it in your backpack. If you're going from work to home to a cafe to study, and then back home to do the dishes and to eat dinner, and then back out somewhere, this might be a great way for you to stay organized too, as a small study kit. A very big challenge for busy adults is switching between roles. You know this. Well, you know this. Where you are a worker, you're a parent, you're a partner, you're a student, you're a colleague, the list goes on. And each of those roles demand different decisions. That is going to add to your cognitive load. So to ease that mental strain, use simple checklists. Use routines to mark the shift. Even a quick on your study note. I do this at my work, in my office. At the end of the day, I'll write down on a sticky note maybe 5 things of where I left off and what I need to pick up tomorrow. Okay, so I'm saying goodbye to this. I'll see you tomorrow. Right? You want to make sure that each night you have a short reset for yourself. What is your reset? It could be washing your face, taking off your makeup, brushing your teeth, making tea, doing your stretches. I don't know what that looks like. These very small patterns are going to tell your brain work is paused. Now we are in rest mode. You start your day the next day. Now I'm in student mode. Now I'm in parent mode. All right. Though I feel like our parent hats are always on. Okay. But the goal is not so that you're carrying your whole day around with you into a study session. You shouldn't be thinking or stressing about this one assignment all day long because we wear multiple hats and we have to switch the cognitive load. All right. The last thing here, think about building flexible study microenvironments, mini ones. All right. Mel, you're currently at your work right now. Okay. You're studying on the go. You are. So what else could be a micro environment, study environment? It could be your lunch break and you're like, I need a break from my coworkers. I'm going to go to my car and I'm going to use that time to get some reading done or listen to a podcast or something, an audio lecture. I'm going to review notes or I'm going to go to a cafe over lunch. Whatever that looks like. Even just a quiet corner at work if there's an empty office space that they're letting you use, a library, something that serves as a temporary focus space for you to bring those core anchors with you. Your charger, a timer, a planner, all of that for only 20, 30 minutes. That's all it is. Okay. Those are some real life adaptations for you all to work on. So briefly, let's discuss this. What does your current study environment say about your habits? Think about that. Feel free to share if you'd like. What does your current study environment say about your habits? Or you can place it in the chat.
Your current study environment can tell your habits that you are consistent on what you're doing. As you were saying before, if your environment it may not be right, but it's acceptable, it's comfortable,
That's right.
whereby you come every day or every time that you have assignment, things to do, and like you were saying, certain things, you put your coffee down, you
That's right.
turn on your light, make sure the light is at a level that is acceptable to your eyes, and
That's
you
right.
put your headphone, and this is how you do every day. And you
Yes.
sit on a chair. It may not be all comfortable, but it's
Yeah.
comfortable enough where you can
Yes.
sit there for an hour or two, or
Yes.
even three, and then you continue with this habit. I believe upon everything you were saying right there, you will acquire a B, even a B minus at least.
That's
You will
right.
get out of it.
That's right. You
Yeah.
are correct, Michelle. You will acquire that. I love the way you put that. Absolutely right. If you do implement these techniques, you will be able to acquire what you need to do. Yes, it's absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that. So in the chat, it looks like Mel was talking about creating a place to be consistent every day, even if it's just half an hour. Yes, you always have a place to come back to. Okay. That's wonderful. Lisa is saying that her current study habits tell me that I need to do better and watch my environment so I can focus more with no distraction. Yeah, so that's what your current study habit is saying is, I need to be mindful of what I'm doing right now. And those of you who will watch this recording later on, you might listen to me talk and say, yeah, I don't actually have a study environment that's good, that's working for me. And think about the way you're submitting your assignments. Are you always late to submitting them? It could mean it's your environment, just like I mentioned in the very beginning of this session. I said many of us think that our study success is about motivation or time management. That is true. But I said that your environment plays just as an important role to that success. Okay? Well put, everyone. Here are your top 3 takeaways. I summarized the entire session into 3 takeaways for you. All right. Number 1, I'll read these off to you. Number 1, your environment is not neutral. It actively shapes your focus, your energy, and habits. So designing your space with intention makes studying easier instead of harder. Number 2, small, repeatable systems like habit stacking, environmental anchors, structured focus blocks, and simple rituals matter more than motivation for showing up consistently. And lastly, number 3, you can succeed in a busy, imperfect life by using what we discussed, the portable setups, reducing distractions, even with the frictions that I suggested, and creating flexible microenvironments that fit your real life schedules and your roles. All right? Those are your key 3 takeaways. Right? All right, we're at the end of our session. So I'm going to give you time for any questions that you might have, any comments. On this slide in front of you, you will see the Ally Center email and my personal email at LBC. Feel free to reach out. I know many of you here. I've met with many of you here. If you would like a session with myself or someone, another professional from the Ally Center, please reach out. Yes, Joy. Hi, Joy.
Yes, I would like a session.
You need a
Please,
session?
I need help.
Yes.
I'm backed up too far.
Oh, no. Okay, we'll work on it. All right, so feel free to reach out with questions too. All right, so let me stop sharing and I'll give the last little bit. Oh, yes, Lisa, I see your chat. Yes, yes. When do you begin again, Lisa? In the second subterm B? It might be what she's saying. She might start in the second subterm. Oh, March 9th. Yes, it's coming up. Yes. All right, so you can incorporate many of these tips given to you tonight. Yes, wonderful. All right, with the last bit of time we have left together, any questions or comments?
I think it was good just to have the reminder.
Yes.
The reminder to prioritize and make little habits.
Yes.
Because little moves that make big habits.
They do.
It's doing the little steps that bring us to the place where, you know what, like, okay, like it won't be I'd rather do this, I gotta do that, like the focus will be, you know what, this. And I think when you have a comfortable space to study and do your work, you want to
Yes.
go to that place. You want to, like, I like to seclude to my little space.
Yes.
I like to just go away there and just sit down and breathe and just, just bring myself back. So, it's good to, in that overwhelming or in that,
that's right.
It may be, it kind of just sets the pace that you have, that you prioritize it.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It does. It sets the tone for you. In your study spaces, just like you said, you should want to go to that space, even though you know in the back of your mind that the paper or presentation you're about to do is going to be so overwhelming. But the fact that you have your routine and your space that is yours, and you're like, okay, I'm comfortable, I have everything I need, I'm ready to learn. You go in it with the mindset of, thank you, Lord, for allowing me to learn this. I know it's going to be challenging. Let's do this, right? Well put, Mel. All right, thank you for attending tonight's session. It was wonderful to see you all. After this session, you will receive tomorrow, you'll receive an email from me, a follow-up with the recording and the PowerPoint for you to have. All right? All right. Thank you all for attending. Have a wonderful evening. I look forward to seeing you in another workshop. Okay?
Thank you. God bless
Thank
you
you.
guys.
God bless
Same here.
you. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.